Welcome to Myloop Sports. I'm your host, Earl. I'm still alongside my homegirl, Samantha, and my man, Woodley. We're going to take some time to go over last week's sports, talk a little bit about the playoffs, and see what's coming up for next week. All right? So, I got a question for you guys.
Ready to answer.
You got the defending champ, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Golden State Warriors sweeping their opponents in the first round.
That's good.
So what do you think? Is this a collision course waiting to happen?
Of course.
Is this
it might be.
You think so?
I don't expect nothing less. Let me tell you why. Cleveland is the defending champs. You know? And Cleveland is the best in the East.
Okay.
Yes, they are the best in the East. So I don't expect anything less from them but to be sweeping everybody. And Golden State, that's what they do.
Nah, I don't think they're gonna sweep everybody. I don't think they're gonna sweep everybody.
Not everybody. They're not gonna sweep. They're not gonna sweep every team. But I don't expect anything less of what they're doing right now.
With Toronto,
they are the defending champs. They gotta defend their title.
I mean, I agree with what Samantha's saying in terms of Cleveland is the best team in the East. I do see them probably having a little trouble going up if they get a chance to face maybe Washington. I see a little trouble with that, but I do see them eventually making it to the finals for a third straight year.
They definitely will make it. They will make it, though. They'll make it to the finals.
Golden State? That's a different story.
What about Golden State?
I don't know. I just see there's a little chink in the armor. Although they swept Portland.
So you don't think they're gonna be San Antonio?
The difference is, and I'm gonna tell you why I say that. There's something called a head coach. If Steve Kerr is out,
they're not gonna win.
They can't beat San Antonio with Popovich. Not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen, bro. I don't.
If you tell me you put in hold on. If you tell me you put in Popovich versus Mike Brown, I'll take Popovich any day of the week.
You're right. I will take Popovich though, but with the Golden State, I don't. Look what Luke Walton did when Steve Kerr was out, right? Look what Luke Walton did when Steve Kerr was out. Okay. And look how far he took him.
Where? They lost though. Listen to me. There's a difference with the regular season versus the playoffs. Popovich is built for the playoffs. Popovich is the Bill Belichick of basketball. You don't overthink this man. You don't beat him by players. You beat him
by coaching. I understand that.
Exactly.
I understand that. But still, they do got the Splash Brothers and KD though, man. And what was his name? Green? Draymond Green? Draymond Green. So you talking about 4 superstars.
I understand what you're saying.
4 superstars going against 2 superstars.
I just have a thing. Go ahead.
I think Spurs, Spurs is going to be that competition.
I'm telling you.
I mean,
Spurs is going to be that competition for them. Come on, it's the Spurs. Let's be honest.
I see a game 7.
Don't ever doubt.
I see a game 7.
I'm not going to say no. I can agree with a game 7.
I definitely see a game 7.
And that's where game 7, the edge to me goes to Popovich for the fact that he's going to be able to tweak things in the middle of games and see things before they happen to make the adjustment, unlike Mike Brown. If Steve Kerr doesn't come back.
But let me ask you a question.
Steve Kerr comes back, it's a different story.
Let me ask you a question. You don't think Steve Kerr is still coaching from where he at?
No.
You don't think so?
No. You can't coach. You can't coach in game sitting in a hotel room or sitting in the locker room. You can't call and say, "Oh, take a timeout." We don't have that.
I'm not saying call a timeout. So you think like before the game, you don't think he's telling?
But you can't coach. You can't coach what to happen with 5 seconds left in the fourth quarter, down by 1 without a timeout. You can't coach that.
I understand that, but as a player though, like as a player that been in the finals, you talking about the whole Golden State, including Kevin Durant.
Okay.
Been in the finals, right? So you think you don't think they could do it without the coach?
You gotta understand what I'm telling you.
He's not.
I'm not telling you the players are not great, but when it comes down to crunch time, you need that calm coaching voice to say, "Hey, listen, we've been here before. This is what we're gonna do. This has worked. This hasn't worked. Let's do this." Mike Brown, I don't trust Mike Brown to be able to sit there and say he's going to do game 7 and be able to pull that. I don't trust him.
I definitely see a game 7 in that series.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a game 7.
Yeah, it's gonna be an exciting one too.
Yeah, I agree. But moving on, I gotta send a shout out to Russell Westbrook. it's hard to sit there and see a man give his all, give you double triples, and can't win a game because you have no supporting cast.
Besides Russell, what they have?
No supporting cast.
So I feel bad for the dude.
I do.
For him to give all his all every game, he killing himself, man.
Question: You think he's staying? You think he?
I think he needs to leave.
I think
he needs to leave. He should have just did a Durant and just. I think he needs to leave.
I don't think he's going to leave for the mere fact that
he don't want to do what Durant did.
Exactly.
Why?
Because he criticized Durant a
whole
lot.
Me,
so if you go do the same thing, no, but it's a matter of principle.
It's not
if you
about
criticize
winning a ring.
For doing what I did, for the decisions I made,
I want a ring,
and you go back a season later and you do the same thing.
Yeah.
How good does what does that make you?
It's the NBA though. They all do that. Look how.
But you gotta understand what Samantha's saying. If I sit there and I tell you you're completely wrong for what you did, and then turn around and go ahead and do the same thing because
I want a ring.
No. So then that's the same reason why Durant did it. He wanted a ring. But then you had a problem with him doing it, so you can't do the same thing.
Why did he do it though? Because he didn't tell him.
Doesn't matter what the reason is.
Even if he would have still told them, he still would have hated.
He's the leader of this team right now. He is this franchise. The fact that he is that type of player, he's not going to want to sit there and go play second Batman to another man's Robin. Yeah, he is Batman now, and he's not going to want to play Batman Robin to another man's Batman.
I feel bad for him for playing like that.
He can be like LeBron. LeBron didn't play Batman to Kyrie, to Kyrie, or Wade.
It depends on where you're going. Yeah. So,
he needs to go if you want to ring. He needs to go.
But on another note, a little sad note. First and foremost, shout out to Isaiah Thomas and his family for losing his sister.
That was so sad, bro.
Can you believe after going down 0-2, losing your sister, and coming back and beating the Bulls?
Let me ask you a question.
4 games straight.
Let me ask you a question. Do you really think the Bulls are going to win without Rondo?
It's not about winning without Rondo. It's the fact that they had a 2-game lead.
Do you really think that the Bulls was going to win without Rondo?
I'm going to tell you, it's not about winning without Rondo. You had a 2-game lead. You beat Boston the first 2 games at home.
Who beat Boston the first 2 games?
The Bulls.
Rondo.
You can't say that.
Come on, man.
Rondo.
You can't say that.
So what happened to the other 4 games? Why did they lose 4 straight?
Boston played better than the Bulls did.
If they had Rondo, they would have won.
How could you sit there and say if they had Rondo, they would have won?
Rondo, they would have won.
In other words, what you're saying is Rondo scored 100 points.
I'm not saying Rondo scored 100 points. I'm saying Rondo had the ball in his hand. He had better decision of making plays for his teammates.
How about Boston, after the loss, decided to come together and play better basketball?
If they had Rondo, I think Boston would have lost, bro.
You realize the Celtics was the #1 seed in the East, right?
But it was down 0-2.
The #1 seed in the East. Clearly, you played a certain brand of basketball all year round to get that #1 seed. So you tell me just because it was #1 seed, they couldn't lose 4-0? That's not what I'm telling you. You're not listening to what I'm saying. You played a special brand of basketball to get you the #1 seed.
Okay.
You're not just going to completely forget how to play basketball because you're down 0-2.
It's not forgetting. It's the general, is the point guard on the floor conducting his teammates. Okay. That's what exactly Rondo was doing, conducting his teammates to get that 2 game.
I don't know what you think, Samantha.
I don't think I'm just staying neutral because I don't think one guy makes the team. You understand? Rondo didn't make it to the playoffs by himself.
Who?
Rondo wasn't passing himself the ball.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying he was managing the team.
I get what you're saying about
managing the team.
The calming influence of Rondo. I get what you're saying, but you have to look at the other side of the spectrum. Boston did not play well in the first 2 games. It could have been the fact that the guy was mourning his sister's death.
So you think he's still doing it now?
I'm not telling you no, but the mere fact is they came together and decided, let's go back to what we've been doing. Let's go back to the way that we've been playing. Forget the fact that Rondo's not there. We're going to play who we are. Let's play Boston. Boston changed their starting lineup.
They did.
They went smaller.
They did.
And Chicago couldn't combine what kind of did what Boston
they
did.
They couldn't because they didn't have a point guard.
But that had nothing to do with Rondo. Me going small.
They didn't have a point guard.
Listen to me. What does that have to do with starting Gerald Green? Rondo didn't. He wasn't going to guard Gerald Green. Okay. They went smaller. The defense that the Bulls was playing, they couldn't adjust to what Boston was doing. Boston flipped the game on them. So I get you with Rondo being. I get you with Rondo being the floor general and missing. He was a missing part. I'm not telling you, but that's not the reason why they lost 4 in a row. Come on.
That was the reason.
You tell me that for one game, I'll say yes. So that means you're telling me the coach made no adjustments after losing Rondo. As a coach, you have 4 games. You made no adjustments.
But who they had? Isaiah Cannon.
Come on.
Isaiah Cannon? Okay.
Well, like I said, this one, we'll back to different.
We're going back to different on that one.
But the most interesting series in this playoffs is the Clippers versus the Jazz.
Oh, yeah, that was
once again, the Clippers got nicked by an injury with Blake Griffin going down. It's not a surprise. It's not a shock. We knew this was going to happen. One of the stars would have went down, and now the Clippers are fighting to make the second round once again. I don't know about you guys, but I think almost losing that 14-point lead yesterday is going to be hard for the Clippers to move on. So what do you think?
I mean, it's funny because actually I was looking online and I seen one of these interviews that Chris Paul had.
Yes, I did. Yes.
When one of the guys asked him, do you see yourself playing on Sunday?
Yeah.
And question, like, you understand? But I do think I don't know. It's a good question. I think the Clippers. I'm in the middle. I'm undecided.
Nice. What you think, what?
I think they're gonna take it at home. Game 7, home team, the Clippers. Yeah, Chris Paul, he gonna come out to play. He played 48 minutes last 47 minutes last game. He gonna play that. They're gonna win that game 7. They're gonna take it at home.
Okay.
They're gonna take it at home.
I hope they do.
Fair enough.
They're gonna take it at home.
But let's get the matchup for the fun part of this here playoffs, the second round. This is where you make your money. You know what I mean? This is where the big boys show up. We got rid of all the weaklings, is what we call them. Now the big boys show up. So you got the Cavs, once again, playing Toronto.
4-2.
You say 4-2? What's your prediction?
Toronto. Yeah, 4-2.
Nah.
They're not going to Toronto.
I'm going to make a bold prediction right here.
4-0.
You swept?
Toronto ain't got a chance.
They sweeping Toronto, bro?
Toronto ain't got a chance.
At least 4-1 or something.
Toronto ain't got a chance. My man Kyrie, LeBron, Love, they've been sitting at home. JR been recovering. They've been sitting at home chilling.
So you think Toronto going to win 1 game?
If Toronto had that much trouble playing Milwaukee, with Cleveland sitting at home waiting,
come on, son. You can't
it's going down in this.
You can't see, like, I like to see game 7.
It's going down in this. You could want to see game 7. You could want to see what you want to see.
I want to see game 7 for every game.
You could want to see what you see.
Then that's sweeping Toronto.
But it's like this. But the other game in the East is going to be Boston versus Washington. Ooh. Now the reason why I like this series is because those two teams hate each other. Lately, they've hated each other. I don't know if you guys saw in the regular season where it was a game, they played each other, and the whole Washington team came in black, all black.
Yeah, I seen that one.
Like, they literally have no love for each other. They've come to the point where there's been a bunch of technicals, a bunch of face-to-face, want to fight, so I can't wait for this series to start.
Interesting. It's probably going to be more like a reality show than a basketball game.
You never know.
Yeah.
I just hope it's a well-played series where we don't have no fights, where it has to be...
We'll definitely be entertained.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good game.
Outside of basketball.
Boston. I'm going to go for Boston.
What you say?
I'm going to go with Washington.
I agree. I completely agree. I see Cleveland versus Washington in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay.
All right? So we'll see what happens. Now in the West, you got the bearded one versus the Bill Belichick, which is Popovich. So it's Houston versus the Spurs. What's your take on that?
I want Harden and the Rockets to take it.
But then, your mind tells you,
I don't know how y'all gonna do it.
Not happening.
All right?
No. Not happening.
It might be a little work, you know. I do see the Spurs taking it, so.
So you say no?
That's the Spurs taking it 4-1.
You say the Spurs?
Yeah. Spurs 4-1. 4-1. They're not gonna sweep the Houston Rockets. They're gonna win at least one game at home. They're gonna win one game at home. At least one game.
They're not gonna sweep.
I'm about to give you another bold prediction.
What's up?
I'm watching you.
What's up?
This right here, the bearded one, is going to the finals. The Western Conference Finals will see the Rockets.
You think so?
I think so, man.
All right. Say no more.
All right.
If you think up, you go wild, Leonard. Say no more.
So we'll see what happens. But tomorrow's Game 7, Clippers, Jazz. Let's see what happens.
Clippers.
Yeah.
Clippers. So.
They don't have big men no more. They don't have big men no more.
Yeah,
I'll say Jazz. We'll see what happens. We'll talk about it next time. I'm your host, Earl, and we out.